So my definition of a natural hazard is any event, any sort of harmful event that occurs without people involved. So that would be snowstorms, drought, a flood. So there are many types of drought. So obviously a snow drought is bad for multiple reasons. Obviously there's a recreation issue. People love their snow and love their recreation in Colorado. The other impact from snow drought is that you're affecting water supply. There's also an agricultural drought where there's just not enough water to go around for crops, to grow crops. There's also the municipal or city drought where a particular city runs out of water for various reasons. There's ecosystem droughts, which may be a little bit different. Sometimes long-lasting droughts will affect certain animals and fish and plants, for that matter. I work for NOAA, which is the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. I work for a piece of it called the National Centers for Environmental Information, which collects all types of data, all types of climate data. That data then is made available to any and everybody who wants to use it. It's public information. We can look at the state of Colorado and tell you on a monthly basis how wet or dry you are compared to the last 125 years. The 2012 drought was a fairly fast occurring, very widespread drought that sort of was Southern Plains, Midwest, Great Plains, and Colorado included in that. So the geographic area is a little bit different than what happened in 2018. The 2018 drought was really focused on the west side of the mountains, right, and the southwest part of the US. So while one was in, we'll say, the eastern part of the state, one really was much worse in the western part of the state. The prediction of drought is extremely difficult. Now, that said, there are some indicating, we call them teleconnections, or things that happen sort of repeatedly every 2 or 3 years called El Nino and La Nina that give us some guidance on what may happen in terms of precipitation across the United States. During a La Nina year, the tendency, and this may only be slight, is to see more precipitation in the northern mountains and north into Montana. And during El Nino, you tend to see more precipitation in the southern part of the state. So some of the obvious ones are where we're extracting too much water or using too much water from a reservoir or extracting too much water from the ground. And you can see other droughts when reservoir systems are overtaxed in terms of too much water being drawn out by a particular community and not having a good backup. There are some people that would argue that because of certain practices, we're not retaining water like we should in agricultural land because we're turning over the ground, we're not practicing soil health in an appropriate way. In the high plains, in the eastern part of the Colorado, they really like to see April, May, and June precipitation because of the grasslands out there. That's the wettest time of the year, generally speaking. Later in the year, you don't want drier than normal conditions, even though it's pretty dry anyway. But later in the year, say July, August, September, that's when you have a lot of fires. So you'd like to see more precipitation during that time of year. It is likely that drought risk will and has changed over our lifetimes for sure. There are some indications that the southwest part of the United States, which would include at least portions of Colorado, will become drier as the climate changes and things become warmer. Climate change theory basically says that as conditions warm, you're going to be able to evaporate a lot more water. Unless there's more precipitation to balance out the amount of evaporation, you're going to get drier conditions. Even if you do have a slight increase in precipitation, that probably won't be enough to offset the evaporation from warmer temperatures.